Hello and welcome to Greenshoots. This is a program where we catch up with the founders of some startup companies to find out what's driving them, what are they thinking about, and what kind of challenges have they faced in their journey. Today, I'm joined by Ms. Mayurakshi Das. She's founder and CEO of Elixir AI. Now, Elixir AI is an AI-enabled technology solutions firm that offers digital intervention and infrastructure to various municipal corporations and private companies. Thank you so much, Mayurakshi, for joining us. So good to have you with us on Green Shoots.
Thank you, Anisha. I'm excited to walk you through my journey.
So, Mayurakshi, as much as I understand, you come from a finance background. You were an investment banker, and now you're
That,
leading a technology firm. So, how do you make this switch, from finance to technology? What really led to the creation of Elixir AI?
great question. I'd like to start by saying that I really haven't, made a switch. I think it's the deep finance background that I have, or it could be finance, it could be any domain experience that you have, which ultimately makes great technologies. I think, given that I have this domain expertise, I have been able to relate to problems, or rather business improvements that could help any organization, whether it is the government, large multinational banks, companies, etc. To give you an example, what better to automate a finance process. I think a person with knowledge in finance will know better than a software engineer just coming in and trying to automate something that he cannot relate to. Like, I firmly believe technology is so well in use in the education field, the medical field. Doctors or educationalists would make the best technologies because they're able to relate to their day-to-day issues.
So, Meenakshi, for all those entrepreneurs out there, what would you then put more emphasis on? Where you come from, what you understand about the problems of businesses and how to fix them, or domain knowledge. See, you've come from a finance background, and you would understand, the problems faced in that sector or in that process of company. So, what do you then give more weightage to? The experience of problem solving, the domain knowledge. Would you then say that your logical thinking and those skills perhaps outweigh your domain knowledge if you are an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. I think you've hit it spot on, Anisha. You almost sound like an expert. I think agility, flexibility, to think out of the box, out of the domain, to just be like a sponge where, your day to day, you're looking around. It could be the finance domain when you go to the bank. It could be when you're shopping online. It could be when you're running your day to day, grocery. That's how companies like Big Basket came about. I think adaptability to whichever domain you're in, and we all deal with different domains on a day to day. I think I would give that much more weightage than an entrepreneur saying that I'm a technologist, or I come from for example, a medical domain, and I will stick only with a medical domain. No, I think if you can apply yourself in life generally, it has already charted the way for progress.
Right. So you have been helping companies, build up and grow
Yes,
from ground zero. Now,
yes.
what I want to understand from you is what is the gap that you saw, that you felt that Exler AI would fill? Uh, because you just said that you may not have domain knowledge, but if you can spot the gap exist in a need and the delivery of the service, you can succeed. So what was the gap that you saw and you felt that Elixir AI could fill?
The biggest gap which I thought I could bridge was that people were just, starting the, dot-com phase, and then the whole startup phase 25 years ago. People were just building companies, and nobody was building a culture. I think I realized that pretty, young in my career, that we're not a manufacturing concern domain. We are a technology domain. What are our assets? We don't have machinery to show for or whatever else. people are our assets. It's these people who come in, build these softwares, that we are exporting, etc. I wanted to build a culture, and I'm proud to say that is what I have done in my career spanning 20 decades, where three companies that we helped incubate, nurture, are now gone from baby stage to solid footing, where I think the average attrition and average employee age in those companies is uh, more than 10 to 15 years. So I
Mm.
think that is the foundation on which we've built these companies, and that is what was the major gap when India really became a technology superpower. I think there was nobody channelizing people to understand that they need to be part of a typical domain or a company for a long period of time to grow the company, but also for their personal growth. And I think that's what I've been able to do.
So I understand that what you're talking about is growing companies. You have a good experience with
Yes.
having helped multinational companies grow, and that is your dream for your company Elixir AI. That people find so much growth here and development that they stay on, and that builds a culture and that helps in the growth. But what is the gap that you saw? Why Elixir AI? What are the services that you're giving that you thought that people are not fulfilling?
So the first gap that I identified was, if I may call, a major brain drain, or a general feeling that we grow up with for some reason, that if you start a company, you have to drive revenue, looking westwards, or if you're looking for a massive career growth, you have to spend some time overseas. I think what was missing with all the contribution that I was doing to these multinational was, why can we not use global expertise locally? So that is where Lexir AI was incorporated 4 years ago, with a sole focus of working with Indian talent, but using our global expertise to solutionize and really bring Indian governments, whether it's Indian governments, agencies, top business houses, really up to the forefront.
Hmm.
So,
But
so I think, yes,
sorry, so the natural question then it comes is like Indian talent is everywhere, and you are nurturing the talent to offer international solutions to Indian local bodies and governments. But
absolutely.
here you have severe competition from entrenched IT players like TCS, and government contracts are not easy play. There's tendering,
Yes,
there is low cost, and
yes,
we've seen that even the biggest IT companies in India have had a very tough time working with the government. I could give an example of Infosys and the GST side. So, isn't this a tough area to break through? Why did you identify this area?
absolutely. So it was, a long, hot decision in 2015, and it took me 1 year to really, close my focus on this. And also being from a very, corporate kind of background, family background, we had absolutely no connect, whatsoever in this, the entire government and, bureaucrat field. However, I think one realization that came is, there were two realizations that came, that diversity is huge. Okay, there is men entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs. Nobody is bigger than the other. No revenue is flowing to a certain sector just because they are man or woman, or whatever, startup or not. I think the most capable person with the most agility to suit the Indian government is who is making a mark.
Hmm.
There are points when Infosys, being the giant, and we all aspire to be that, they've taken India to the global platform. But there are certain protocols that they need to follow. They cannot be agile. Sometimes to win a tendering process, their own standards are so different. It's, I think, it's sometimes difficult. I think their growth has themselves made it difficult for them. And
Hmm.
so I think, because they are such well set businesses, the most important thing is, and I've spoken to top officials who lead businesses for the government sector in these areas, there is a notion that it's difficult to work with the Indian government. I would completely want to break that notion. I have met the biggest visionaries of my career, like I said, my 20-year career in the last 4 years. I have met the most disciplined bureaucrats, completely punctual, where I have been couple of minutes late and I have been, told so. I have met technology visionaries. I have met complete regard for, a startup and
Hmm.
capabilities. And most importantly, the best people persons who can actually spot talent,
Hmm.
not by attaching an emphasis to your name, but by seeing Lexir or Mayurakshi for who they are.
All right. But do you really think that the government market is hot? Like, since the COVID outbreak, we have seen the government machinery move fast to come out with technology solutions, be it Arogya Setu, be it COVID, be it,
Yes.
the government's big plan on digital health, the digital health mission. Now, there are some processes that are working very fast. Even the UAIDI, it's been there for, some years now, but there is a move in the government as well towards digitization. But do you think that that market is hot? Because, digital adoption has just exploded since COVID happened. Any company that was taking baby steps has now been pushed into getting into this. So, which is an easier terrain to track for for a company like yours, the government sector or the private companies, which have also been forced to go digital?
So I've always, I think I'm at that age or time in my life where I can afford to take some calculated risks. So
Hmm.
I balance my portfolio very well with private
Hmm.
and with the government. I think in terms of penetration, both are as easy or difficult as you may call it. But the government just poses a little bit more paperwork and organized processes, right? In terms of digitization for the government, I definitely think it's hot, as you call it. It's a place to go. But on the other side, you want to be very careful. I personally believe at Lexir that you don't want to be too disruptive. You don't want to come in and tell government employees who've been there doing their job for 30-40 years that, hey, you're irrelevant, and suddenly a computer replaces you. No.
Hmm.
If you take that route, um, I don't
Hmm.
think it's the right way. I don't think you're charting, you can win one or two tenders. I don't think you're charting the right. It is about making their day to day jobs better. And that is what Lexir has done. And that is how we've been able to penetrate. And like you rightly said, so the COVID time has been so difficult for every government, whether at the center, state level, municipal level, etc., where the Pune Municipal Commissioner said, everyone's right hand has just been out to collect funds from the state, from the center, and what are we doing? Is there a way we can create revenue? So
Hmm.
this is not only about digitization. Lexir AI has been able to create revenue that just wasn't there. Whether it's hundreds of crores or even 2-3 crores, we have
Hmm.
not taken from the government. We have created revenue for them.
How? What is at play here? What kind of technology are you offering? What kind of AI solutions are you offering to, say, the government agencies?
So this is about, like you said, the GST, right? It's a maturing mechanism. The India has done incredibly well to bring, I don't know how many volumes, under a GST mature database. The same concept is now being applied for the many, many other taxes that we pay as citizens. So we started with the property tax arena. Again, I would like to make it very clear, this is not about people who are defaulting taxes. I think that database is already set. There's a lot mechanism, what not. India being a very highly concrete populous building, there are efforts going on by every municipal corporation at the state level to bring all these buildings onto a common platform, and that is what Lexir is helping with, which in turn obviously derives property tax revenue. Correct. So it is about identification of all these concrete structures for the PMC, who in turn then goes and links it to the property tax revenue, and that's how Lexir has been able to help. The second initiative that we are helping with is, again, it's technology, but a completely different arena, which is the health sector. There is a Shahari Garib Yojana, which is so nicely developed for the underprivileged of our society for medical use. But it's sad that probably these sick people actually have to come to a municipal corporation, apply for a form, and then get themselves admitted. And Honorable Pune Commissioner Mr. Vikram Kumar said, "Is there a way we can bring this online and deploy these funds in a better way?" So, in no way is it about spending lesser money for the municipal corporation. It's about spending it effectively. So that is how we have been, in our own little way, trying to generate revenue.
Hmm. So I understand some of the solutions that you're providing to
Yes.
government agencies, and of course, you have private sector clients as well. So since
Yes.
2015, what has your growth been like? The size of the company, the revenues being generated, are you profitable? What's it like, and what was the impact of the pandemic?
So, 2015 was when the company was incorporated. 2017 is when, end of 2015. So, you would say 2017 is when I actually kind of set my focus on the Indian government. And we started, and it has been 300% growth since. I would say that because we have two Indian government clients. We have one large business house, as a client where we're doing groundbreaking sales work with AI strategies. And I think COVID was, I said, hey, looks like COVID is in the air, and we are, looks like everybody's going to get it anyway. Why don't I just probably, if I have to get it for the right reasons? And, all our bureaucrats were out there, like I call it, on the warpath. I saw them in person. Sitting at their desk, conceptualizing all these COVID war rooms. And I think I found the time and attention from them at that point. COVID actually turned out to be a boon in terms of the digitization effort. Because they had that little time when crowds of people weren't walking into their offices, to spare a little time on the progress that we can make and advancement we can make. So it turned out to be, touchwood, a good time for Elixir AI, and I think together we were able to brainstorm, which I think in a normal busy time may not have happened. You need to step back a little bit and see what you can do in terms of processes, which we were able to do.
So, Mayurakshi, from here on, what is the path now? We have COVID behind us. We know that digitization is a reality. You've
Yeah.
managed to back government clients. From here on, what kind of growth are you looking at? What will be your focus area? You're based in Pune. Are you, in touch with other, state governments or government agencies beyond your geographical domain to grow? And what kind of growth plans are you charting out?
So, looks like growth is definitely coming up. We are completely scaling up for that. Yes, I'm based. I'm a complete Pune girl, but also Lexir has provided a lot of employment opportunity to talent from tier 2, tier 3 cities. I would like to bring that up. When especially COVID time in last 5 years, people from say Belgaum or Kolhapur or all these places had to compete with people in Mumbai, Bangalore, people with much higher spending power. So I think what goes around comes around, and municipal corporations from these areas like Hubli, Dharwad have been reaching out to us after hearing the work that we've been doing at the Pune Municipal Corporation. In terms of Lexir's growth, I think we've built a very repeatable product, which is the most important. We don't need to reinvent the wheel in any way. This is absolutely about just deploying at every Pune municipal corporation, at every municipal corporation, or if we can do it at the state level with a mandate, that is really what is my goal for the next 1 year. In
Right,
the
but
ask me,
it,
sorry, yeah.
so in terms of the number of contracts bagged or the kind of revenues growth, what are you penciling in?
Revenue, again, it's, I wish I could put a price on my product. That is not, fortunately or unfortunately, how it works. It all depends on the size of a particular municipal corporation, and then then we work on the number of buildings, etc., etc. But in terms of contracts, I would like to at least cover 10 municipal corporations in the next 6 months, which will really, again, we don't want to commit more than we can really consume. But 10 municipal corporations across Maharashtra, and go across to neighboring states like Goa, progressive states like Gujarat. And Nisha, at some point in the near future, I'm really hoping to touch the center, where Lexir's solution becomes a mandate for all upcoming smart cities across India. That would
All
be
right.
my ultimate goal.
Okay, so I guess you are eyeing a strong revenue growth visibility. What about margins? Because I just want to understand most of the government contracts are usually low margin. So what do you do there?
Extremely low margins. I'm proud to say that Lexir is a bootstrapped company. We don't we are a zero debt company. We still, all of us get paid on the first of every month. We might not have the biggest social media presence with the best website and etc. We've not been able to invest in that, but our employees are taken care of on the first of every month. That is how we would like to continue to scale this company. um, Margins being lower is, I think, a way of working with the company, and that is what I had consumed right at the beginning of starting Lexir AI. But I think as we multiply manyfold, the volume business will really, India being a large company, the volume business is what will really put Lexir further on the map.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
Mayurakshi,
you.
and sharing with us the journey of Elixir AI. We wish you all the very best. May
Thank
you
you.
bag many more contracts and hence your
Thank
volume
you.
growth become really strong. Thank you so
Thank
much
you so much.
for joining
Lovely.
us.
Thank you.
So that was Mayurakshi Das of Elixir AI talking to us about her journey, finding gaps, filling them, and keeping your eye on the target, growth in volumes, growth in the contracts that you're looking for. And, that's how she sees her strategy playing out in the years ahead. Do stay tuned. We'll be back with another chat with the founder of a startup company soon. And stay tuned to Founder India for all the latest updates from the business world.